Today as I make this video, I'm actually a little heartbroken. I'm heartbroken because I do believe this could be our last chance to get it right. To get America right, to get loving America, freedom in America, liberty in America right, but also have a reawakening to normalcy. That everybody believes in something. Sadly, at the same time as we say this could be our last chance to get it right, if we don't get it right, this could be our last chance to have somewhat of civility, somewhat of normalcy. Because I do believe that if we don't get it right now, when we have conservatives in the White House, conservatives in Congress, conservatives in the Supreme Court, when we could fix a lot of this, we're choosing not to. We're choosing to waste our tax dollars. We're choosing to fight over frivolous things. But ultimately, if we don't get it right, I don't think any of us, especially 90 to 95% of people, are not prepared for what's next. Does that mean, civil war breaks out? I have no idea. But I do believe we need to discuss some of the topics for today and just talk about how this could be it if we're not careful. Let's dive into the stories of the right attacking Trump and the conservative movement, the left attacking Trump and the conservative movement, and how that division, that diversity actually is causing for a non-assimilated America, which means, are we truly the United States of America? I feel like we're living right before the Civil War era. These are the things that take place. I'm a little worried. Let's dive into these stories today, and then let's talk just being honest. Not to be a Debbie Downer, not to be depressed, not to push fear, but to say this is reality of what's taking place. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. Just like I said in the intro, it's not the fact that I want to be depressing or talk about fear or worrisome things all the time. The point of today's video, though, is just I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken to see what the right is doing to itself. It's eating its own. I'm heartbroken to see where the left has gone and how far it's gone, because I do believe that in Western civilization, we're dividing more and more and more to where I don't know if we even know what a semblance of united even means anymore. For some reason, even in the past, when we disagreed about certain things, we would overwhelmingly support some things. And so therefore, it helped us united. We're to a point where we can't feel that at all anymore. I think about the times where at Ole Miss, I'm from Mississippi, where segregation was a big part, and they brought troops in to make peace. And it didn't cause civil war, it actually calls for healing. I think about other times in our history where we've had embattlements and the fact that we've had troops on the ground, or we've had just very troublesome times like the assassination with Kennedy and even Lincoln. There's times we've had in our past that seems like it made us stronger or made us weaker. Well, we're kind of to that point again where I think we're at a fork of the road. And the question is, I don't believe any semblance of united is even in our blood anymore. It's so sad to me. And here's the more sadder part of this, is this I do believe is our last chance as freedom-loving, liberty-loving, of course conservative-loving Americans. I don't believe there is a chance where if we don't fix it now that we'll have a chance to fix it later. We're at a time where we could see revival and reawakening and reinvigoration of American values. We're right here. We have the conservative House, the conservative Senate, and again, I know that when I say conservative, I use those terms lightly, but they're Republican-led at least. We have a conservative in the White House who is wanting America first. We're having the Supreme Court that's leaning conservative. We have a lot of the right answers, but we're not actually solving the problems that we're needing to solve. Let's hit on a few stories real quick. And we're going to talk about how the right is eating its own. We're going to talk about the left. And then we're going to talk about where do we go from here. Because I do believe we're seeing signs reverberating of non-civility. And sadly, when we're worried about peace across the world and we want to give Trump a Nobel Peace Prize, that's all wonderful. I love to see peace in Israel. I love to see peace in Ukraine and Russia. I love to see peace in Azerbaijan. I love to see peace all across the world. The main thing we better be focused on is America, because I'm scared America is going down a hole that I'm scared we can't dig out of. Listen to some of these stories, and let's just go over a few. Twitch streamer Hassan Piker, who is an open liberal, and you can't even listen to him because of his mouth, shocks a dog and has become a viral clip, and now everybody's wanting to cancel him for it. Why is this a big deal, Colby? Because we're worried more about that dog than human life. We're worried more about that dog than how people treat and talk about others. It's absolutely saddening. Let's keep on going. As predicted, Rand Paul attempts to protest the Venezuelan cartels, and it failed, of course, in the Senate. We have the right, who is now pushing for, well, we can't do this to the Venezuelan boats who are bringing the drugs to America. We want to fix the drug problem, and this is how we fix it before it even gets to our shore. And we have conservatives saying, oh, we can't do that because that's not freedom for those Venezuelans. That's an act of war. Well, to be honest with you, Rand, I really don't care, because those are the places that are coming now, like in Kentucky and Tennessee. I've been there. I had a house in East Tennessee where the locals, not the tourism part, but the locals were ate up with bad drug use because of all the stuff that was coming across from these boats basically to America, and it was ruining Appalachia. It's ruining the right and the left leaning places. So we have the right who is now getting upset with Trump because he's wanting to stop the drug trade. NFL halftime performer. NFL gets Bad Bunny to sing and perform at the halftime, who can't even speak hardly a lick of English. So we're going to let him do it in Spanish. We have the NFL backing this guy. This guy just went to a New York Yankees game and sat down during God Bless America because it was not important for him to stand up. And we're platforming him. Amazon headquarters in Seattle, Washington. Employees in a group called themselves Amazon Workers Intifada stage a protest on 10/7, shouting that there is not just a divided solution, talking about Israel and Palestine, and talking about how America thinks that there could be a two-state solution, how they don't want a two-state solution. They want the end of Israel. They want the end of Christianity. They want the end of conservatism. They want to incite violence and bring a unity under one flag, the Palestine-Hamas flag. Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, is wanting to cause division and saying Trump is inciting violence, and he is demanding that Trump's out of his town. However, all he's wanting to do is say that Trump just hates black people, because that's why he wants to go into Chicago. The Islamists calling for acts of terrorism across America that just went viral on all social media platforms. Guess what? He is a Harvard graduate named Abdullah Aki. He is wanting to cause violence here in America, death to America. And we're giving him a platform, and now Harvard is platforming and not canceling him. He's not even really an American citizen that's been here, that's born here, that believes in America. He has no value in the American Revolution. He has no value in our flag. University of Tennessee in Chattanooga, again, a right-wing place, a right-wing state. This is from Andrew Colvett. It says, Turning Point USA cannot get a chapter at this school because the school said no. So Turning Point cannot have a chapter at UT Chattanooga. Again, a conservative state, tends to be a very conservative area, and they're saying, no, we decline conservatism because of what it could bring. Weakness. That's weak people, not strength. A crowd, and we talked about this yesterday, a crowd of Islam formed in NYC yesterday to carry out the tax, saying we need a tax on America. Ron DeSantis brought this up and says, the suicide of the West is right in front of us. The destructive immigration policy and the fact that we believe that America could be united under any flag when there's so many people that are not assimilating to freedom and coming here legally. He said what we're doing is we're seeing the suicide of the right. Now, why do I bring all these stories up? You saw stories from the liberals, the Harvard side, the Islamists, the people of the left, Washington, Seattle, all that. Then you also saw the conservative side. The fact that people are pushing in Kentucky against Trump's push. The people against Tennessee pushing against Trump's push. We have Candace Owens, who is trying to degrade everything that Trump is doing in the name of quote unquote that he's been bought out. So when I say this is our last chance, this is our last chance. Trump is absolutely facing some of the hardest battles that he has to face, and actually the coldness that he personifies actually could be the only way that we come out of this, because he is not letting this attack from both sides stop him from what his goal is. Now, does that mean Trump's some Superman? No, I'm not saying that. We're finite men and fallen men, but I do say this. I do believe that he is absolutely trying to make America better, starting with the people and the cities. The cities, if there is places in our cities like Chicago, Philadelphia, even Jackson, Mississippi, an hour from me, New Orleans, 2.5 hours from me, there's places that you would not go as a white conservative male after a certain time. There's a place where women could not run after a certain amount of time because of the dangers of the cities. When did we ever think that that was normal? Do we not think that that's a bad thing? Now, the question is, why are we still seeing liberals push for these cities to keep having the same problem? I want you to go right now on Twitter or any internet site and you type in inner cities, give me images or videos of inner cities from independent journalists. You're going to see the fallenness, the sin. You're going to see the drug use. You're going to see the homelessness. You're going to see the third world country look to our inner cities. And you don't believe that's going to be a problem for us? You don't believe that's going to just go keep on metastasizing like a virus or a cancer into America? I honestly say, I tell my family this all the time, we truly have a cancer in America. We have a cancer in our family. We are inundated with cancer. And I'm not talking about the kind that medical treatments are having for radiation and chemo. I'm talking about the fact that we have a virus taking over America. Now we're going to go a little bit more deeper into it, but before we do, a word from today's sponsor. Chapter has been with me for months now. And when we talk about things that we're sponsored by, most of the time it's because you're having to buy something. Well, to be honest with you, what Chapter does is they come alongside you. If you're 65 and older, or about to be, Chapter is there for you. Call this number below. They work for you for free. Their goal is to get you the very best plan when it comes to Medicare supplements and parts, and they advise you. They know what plans are, and they know what helps you the best. People have opinions all the time, but sometimes those opinions may not be good for you. Your plan is a little bit different than everyone else's, so Chapter comes alongside and helps you personalize. Now, you're in a time of open enrollment. You're in a time where people are questioning, do I have the right plan? Am I saving enough money? Well, Chapter can help. Please call this number below. If you're 65 and older or about to be, or have questions about your plan, the average person that's on Chapter saves $1,100 a year. In a time where everybody wants to take your money, Chapter's trying to help you save your money. Check with Chapter today, and I promise you, if you are that age and you're worried about spending, they're going to be able to help you save some money. Check with Chapter today. Now let's go back to this thought pattern. I was actually a little wrong on this whole thing of troops going into cities. I said this was a slippery slope, and it is. I agree. I do agree there. I'm not going back on that. But I started thinking about, times in history where Dwight D. Eisenhower, Hoover, JFK, where we used troops or used federalizing of agents to make things better in America. Now, do I believe this is a good policy? No, I don't. Please, I don't want. I'm not going back on that. But when I say this could be our last chance to stop the spread of this metastasized cancer, and we talk about cures, if we talk in that terminology, then sending the troops may be our only hope to fix these cities. Because what we've realized because of all the journalism, that the Portland police, the Seattle police, and a lot of these liberal police are actually working alongside the terrorists and some of the people that are causing harm in our cities. It's almost like you're looking at Gotham. Now, I grew up watching Batman, and a lot of you may have too. And what we've noticed with Batman is that Gotham, the city, was fallen. The leadership was fallen. They were evil. They were all corrupt. The city police all were bought out. So criminals were running amok. And I actually feel like we don't have Batman, but I actually feel like we're in that same situation where we're in Gotham, in all our inner cities and urban areas, where we have made this area where it's just pure out criminality. And once when I thought that military was the wrong answer for these cities, I actually think now that it may be the only answer for these cities to save them. This is our last hope to save them. So if we send the military in and we fix it and then we get out, then we divided and conquered and solved the problems. And here's the situation. When those cities get cleaned up, if you remember when the Chinese delegation and the diplomatic group came to San Francisco that time. You remember when Gavin Newsom cleaned it all up and made San Francisco beautiful again? For that week, took the homeless people out. It looked like normalcy then. It looked beautiful. It looked like it should look. And then once they left, it went back to the same thing. So here's what I'm saying when I say the last chance. If Trump goes in and cleans Memphis, cleans Washington, D.C., cleans Jackson, cleans Knoxville, cleans Chattanooga, cleans Chicago, cleans Seattle, cleans Portland, cleans San Francisco, but the leadership never changes, then we're not solving any problems. We're just making it tidied up. It's kind of like getting in a bath. So if I go work in the garden and I get sweaty and nasty, I can literally go take a bath. It's kind of like a dog. I can go bathe my dogs after they've been running in the field and getting extremely nasty. But if I don't put them in some kind of kennel, or I don't go and stay inside and I go right back out and get in the garden, I'm gonna get nasty again. The dog's gonna get nasty again in the field. So the point of this is sometimes we don't need just a bath. We need a true change. We need a whole change. We talk about this with revival in the church all the time. We don't need a spiritual bath. We don't need to just be cleaned just for a moment and then go back to our same old sin. We actually need to change what we're doing so then we have a better outlook. It's the same situation when it comes to these cities. If we don't change leadership, and this leadership keeps pushing, like Brandon Johnson, saying things like civil war and saying things that Trump is Hitler and all this rhetoric, what we're actually doing is we're not going to change. We may clean the city up, but then it's going to fall right back into the same problem. They talk about this with cancer, and again, no matter what your thoughts are on, chemo and radiation, they always talk about if we don't get it all, that it will grow quicker and expand. And all of a sudden then it reacts, and then it spreads everywhere. It's like a virus. If we're not careful and we don't actually fix the cities and heal the cities, maybe with military, maybe this is our last chance, but if we don't start arresting some of these players that are in the corrupted business of politics, then we're going to let it metastasize and it's going to get way worse. And if it gets way worse, then what are we to do? I honestly believe there was a story done and a study done on Americans that said that if 90 to 95% were faced with some kind of instability, that 90 to 95% of individuals would fail, meaning they would not be able to survive. They would not be able to make it. They talked about the grid collapse. They talked about telecommunications collapse. They talked about a major storm, but then they also talked about another civil war. They said that Americans have never thrived in that because they've never had to. They've never had to actually be vigilant and fight for their freedoms and liberties. And now if we do not get the battle won now under Trump, this could be the last chance to not have to face those things. Are you prepared? Do you have the things you need? Well, if you're dead up to your eyeballs, you have no way of safety and securing your food system and being sustainable and also defending yourself, then you will fall like sign right in the middle of that 90 to 95% that cannot take care of itself, and you will go at the beck and call of whatever the leadership is telling you at that time. This could be our last chance. Let's admit the problems. Let's admit the fact that the right is trying to eat itself. Let's admit the fact that sometimes the MAGA base grew so much that I believe instead of them learning who we are, they're trying to change who we are. Let's admit to the fact that letting all these illegal immigrants into the country for 5 to 10 to 15 million, when there's not really that many jobs available, and when AI is taking over more jobs, this could be bad. And this could only add to the problems that we're already having. Let's just admit to those things. If we don't admit that we have a problem, we will never find a solution. If we don't admit that we have a debt problem, we will never stop spending. If we don't admit that the legal immigrant problem is a bad thing, then we'll never solve it. Now, the Republicans have admitted that, but the left has not. So if we keep trying to cause problems at these facilities, if we keep trying to make these cities stay like they are and in complete hellscapes, then what we're doing is we're actually causing for the next step to get closer and closer to an infight in America. Could it be a national divorce? No, I think before the national divorce, it would be a civil war. And as I just said in the notes in the study, if we're not careful, 90 to 95% of people will not be ready for that. On both sides, it will spread and will cause for suffering. We have no survival rate in that. I've been watching a show. This is a show that we watch on VidAngel. So when I tell you I watch movies or watch shows or I listen to things, I listen to them on VidAngel, so it cuts out it cuts out all the cursing, cuts out all the bad scenes, all that kind of stuff, so families can watch things together. So I've been watching this show called The Walking Dead just because sometimes I like just kind of getting away from the news and politics. And one thing I've learned about the show, it's very gory, and to be honest with you, it's kind of stupid, but there is a part of it that I do like, and it brings up the fact that every time these survivalists get in the situation where, they having to fight the Walking Dead, which is kind of like the zombies and this virus that took off and don't know what's caused all this, but ultimately, and I'm not far in the series, but every time they come to an inhabitant where they're having to go into a city or community that's surviving. Truthfully, they're weak because they never had to face the outside world. They never had to face the quote-unquote walking dead. They never had to actually get dirty, down and dirty. They had all the freedoms they wanted in their little communities. And then ultimately they're overran with the zombies, the walking dead, and they don't know how to survive. In a way, America's kind of like that. We've been so encapsulated with comforts and conveniences, and we never really had to fight our battles because all our battles were overseas. I honestly believe with the tragedy of Charlie Kirk, with the cities imploding, those battles are now here. And I feel like we are weak. I feel like we're not ready for it. And I'm scared that if we do not go get behind this administration to try to fix America, fixing it through the healthcare system through RFK, fixing it through the locking the borders down through Trump, fixing the cities by maybe sending military in and get out, don't stay, it's not martial law. If we don't stop spending money like the conservatives are saying, we're putting ourselves in a very dangerous predicament. And I believe it will end up falling into civil war. Please, please, please see the cancer and the virus for what it is. Turning our head to it doesn't change the fact that it's happening. Saying that I'm just pushing fear is absolutely not true. This is the reality that we lived in. I just read you 10 stories at the very first of this video. Go back and listen to them. From the left, the right, the middle, all pushing against normalcy and united fronts. Pushing that we're not assimilated, we're not united at all. That division will cause and grow and cause for more hatred. I mean, look at the right. The right is fighting and truly ruining the Charlie Kirk legacy because the infighting between the people like Candace Owens and Ian Carroll to the establishment who supports Israel to literally Trump right here somewhere in the middle. We're destroying a chance for revival, all in the name of clicks and giggles. And trying to get down to a quote-unquote truth, and it could be just more conspiracy. Now, I'm one of those ones who don't trust the government and everything. Absolutely not. But here's what I do want to happen. I want revival to take place because a spiritual awakening is probably our only hope. Trump bringing in some kind of spiritual revival and God using this administration for that may be our only hope. If this does not happen, though, be prepared because I don't think it's going to get any better after this. You know what we've seen in all, if you look in all history, God gave a chance to all nations to do better. Well, then they get to bad leadership, then they get to chaos and civil unrest, and then all of a sudden you get a bad dictator and he rules over the people and destroys the nation. We're not there yet, but we're getting very, very, very close if we don't do something about it right now. And this is not meant to depress you today. But this is just to say, look, we need to get our awareness on. We need to realize where we're at. Putting our head in the sand is not helping anymore, and we need to see that the right is eating itself, the left is attacking the right, and ultimately, if we don't try to fix it now, and we have a spiritual revival like we were having until the right started attacking itself, we're going to see the end to the America that we know. And your politicians, they don't care because pretty much they're going to be living in their ivory towers, not worried about the little old man in the city. They're going to be worried about themselves. And we're the ones that's going to be fighting and destroying ourselves while they look over and laugh, almost like a gladiator match. Please see the cancer and the virus for what we have in our nation if we don't fix it. And we do not have this resolved or started to at least turn the pendulum and change directions, we're going to get to a fork in the road that's going to be very, very dangerous. And I'm scared both of them are going to lead to instability and civil war. Give me your thoughts today. You see the riots, you see the liberal cities, and you can't tell me that one liberal state and liberal city is living in a place where you think that's wise. They're living in foolishness. But I'm scared that foolishness will keep on taking over like a virus. Give me your thoughts for the day. If I'm wrong or right, comment below. I want your comments. I do read your comments. I can't respond to all of them, but I do read them. So please go comment on this so that way we can get into the community and talk amongst ourselves to see what people are thinking. Guys, let me know your thoughts for today. God bless.